as always, you can ignore the camera, you just
Right.
straight at me. You pull up, they've got a couple questions for me. I don't suspect we'll need you to say and spell your name or title, so.
I can do it if you want it for the record, but
might as well, yes.
Lloyd Doggett, representing Austin in Congress, Lloyd, Doggett.
Okay, so just to start off, first can you tell us about the House passing President Trump's big, beautiful bill and why you voted against it?
Well, there are many ugly details in that bill, and it was run out with little advance notice and little opportunity to explain those details. I'm concerned about the way it will affect neighbors here. For example, a physician or any healthcare provider can expect on October 1st to see their payments reduced from Medicare, even though President Trump promised not to do that. I'm concerned about half the babies that are born here in Austin and our seniors in nursing homes who rely on Medicaid, and a huge cut is being proposed there. I'm concerned about those who went with me to the foundation communities here to get a sign up for the marketplace health insurance plans. No more funding for foundation, and about 4 million people will lose their coverage under the Affordable Care Act. In whole, 14 million Americans could lose their access to a family physician. The Central Texas Food Bank, which does such great work here to ensure that our neighbors are not hungry, will see cuts in federal support that it relies upon. Our schools, under such threat right now because of inadequate state financing, now will see a federal voucher plan on top of the state voucher plan as almost an incentive for parents to remove their children from public schools. All those, I think, are big mistakes, but in addition to that, and something that would affect everyone regardless if they're concerned about food or health care or schools, is that despite all the talk about fiscal responsibility, this drastically increases our nation's debt. And I'm troubled about a situation where we're already spending more on our interest on the debt than on our national defense. This is a fiscally irresponsible bill, all done to provide more tax breaks for those at the very top.
Can you talk a little bit about, you've talked about your concerns and especially some of the impact that will happen with
Right.
Central Texans. Can you tell me what Central Texans can expect in terms of how you think they will be harmed by this bill?
I think many of our neighbors will lose their health coverage and their access to a family physician and the prescriptions that they need. I think our schools that are under such significant pressure right now will feel even more pressure from this unnecessary and expensive $20 billion federal voucher plan. And I think some people will go hungry because they can't get access to the food that they need. All of us feeling the pinch, regardless of our feelings on these issues, from a debt that is becoming bigger and bigger and will threaten the future of Social Security and Medicare if it's not constrained.
So you mentioned that $20 billion
Voucher plan.
The voucher plan, yes. In your press release, you actually said that it mentions, it includes devoting $20 billion to undermining public schools with the new federals.
That's right.
Governor Abbott also, of course, recently signed the voucher plan. What are your thoughts on President Trump and Governor Abbott being aligned on school vouchers, and how do you believe it will impact our schools?
I think it will really hurt our schools. Our schools are struggling. They have been subject to extortion from Governor Abbott in the last legislative session, not providing new school financing and teacher pay raises in order unsuccessfully to get his voucher plan. Now he has it. He's still underfunding our schools. Something like 70% of the school districts across the state in financial difficulty because they are not getting adequate state funding. When you add on top of that President Trump trying to shift every dollar he can away from public schools and into private schools, they're really sending a message that they are discouraging people from participating in public education. I'm a public school student, as are my children and now my grandchildren in Austin Public Schools. I think they do more through the schools than academics. They help bind our community together. It's so important to protect those schools, and I believe the Abbott-Trump plan is really damaging to that commitment we should have to public education.
Governor Abbott and Senator Cornyn both released statements yesterday stating that the big beautiful bill includes $12 billion in funding to reimburse Texas for Operation Lone Star. Can you provide your thoughts on that?
I think Operation Lone Star was a great political move by Governor Abbott that has accomplished very little at the Texas border. I think it increased the number of DWI arrests in the valley, and maybe that made the streets safer, but certainly didn't accomplish much of anything on immigration. I don't think the federal taxpayer, Texans included, should be paying a penny of that $12 billion. And I think it was one of many things forged into this giant bill, 1,100 pages, with only minutes to review it, that should never have been adopted.
Going a little bit more into the legislature, yesterday the Texas Senate gave preliminary approval to House Bill 2, an $8.5 billion funding package would set aside money for schools, includes billions for teachers' pay. The ledge is set to give final approval today for House Bill 2, and can you provide your thoughts on how schools can benefit from this, or do you believe that more needs to be done?
I think the legislature, once again, under Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Patrick's leadership, our legislature is providing a fraction of what our schools need. They let a tremendous backlog occur, and now they're contributing a very small amount. Their focus is on how to get more public resources into private schools. My focus, and I think that of most of our Central Texas legislative delegation, is focused on how do we strengthen our public schools and make them work better for more people.
So moving a little bit more towards the airport.
Right.
So recently, the FAA implemented a ground delay at Austin Airport due to air traffic control staffing issues. This is the second time this month that flights at the airport have been impacted by staffing. Do you believe that we could see this more often, and how do you believe that this will impact summer travel?
Throughout the summer, whenever there are travel peaks, we will see inconvenience for many travelers coming into Austin, for everyone who's going to pick up someone at the airport. I think the whole thing is totally unjustified. It shows the failure of the Federal Aviation Administration to do its job. We have less than half the number of air traffic controllers that we need to keep our skies safe. And so every time you see one of these delays, it's not only the inconvenience, but it is an admission by the FAA that they don't have the staffers that they should have here in Austin to do the job. It means mainly that flights coming into Austin are delayed 45 minutes, an hour, sometime hours, because there aren't enough controllers there to keep it safe. That's my principal concern, although I find very troubling the way our neighbors are disrespected and inconvenienced by these unnecessary delays.
And our final question has to do with the measles. Most recently,
Yes.
the Williamson County case confirmed their first case of a school-age child from Leander. This also comes after Hayes County confirmed a case, and so Travis County has reported at least 2 cases. Is there a concern that we could see more cases pop up in Central Texas? And what do you believe can be done about it? What is your message to people and parents who are concerned?
It is a highly contagious disease. It's not to be trifled with. It can lead to death, and it has. I believe it's the direct result of all the false information that's out there about vaccines. There was a time not long ago that it was announced that this disease had been totally eradicated in the United States, but the failure to immunize, to vaccinate, has led to this outbreak. It's dangerous, it will spread because it's so contagious, and we need a more effective campaign against it and an end to these fantasies out of Secretary Kennedy that there's something other than immunization that will protect families from the dread disease of measles.
I believe that's all the questions I have
Okay.
for you. Is
No,
there
thank
anything
you.
else that you'd like to
I
touch
think
on? Or
I think I'm just reflecting on some of the things from the budget bill. I guess I would just add this. The so-called big beautiful bill that has so many ugly details that was rushed through the House this week is not law yet. There is still an opportunity for our neighbors to speak out about the harm this bill will cause. There is a push to get it through the U.S. Senate and get it signed by July 4th. I hope it can be substantially modified in the Senate. I don't think it's worth the damage done to Medicare, to Medicaid, to our schools, to our food security, and to our fiscal future to justify these huge tax breaks to those at the top.
All right.
Now's the time to speak out. Thank you. Thanks for the chance to visit. I bet you have tons of cutaways, but do you need